A Mortal's Journey to Immortality Episode 815. In the previous episode, Han Li and his companions uncovered an extraordinary secret hidden within the stone walls, traces of the legendary Tailstar silver. A material so rare and durable that even powerful treasures could barely scratch it. The discovery instantly stirred greed and excitement, especially in Lu Weiying and Marquis Nanlong. But the group ultimately chose to press forward, knowing time was running short and greater dangers awaited deeper inside. As they moved on, Han Li quietly learned a mysterious insect-controlling technique from the Monarch of Soul Divergence, allowing his gold-devouring beetles to tunnel through the rock and harvest the precious silver in secret. Soon after, the group reached a widening cavern illuminated by strange, floating silver strands, the deadly Greatnorth Essence Lights. Marquis Nanlong warned that even the slightest leak of spiritual power could trigger their destruction. At the end of the previous episode, Han Li summoned the jet black Yin Yang Ring, preparing to step into a place where one wrong move could end everything. What will happen next? Stay tuned. And the story continues. When Marquis Nanlong and Lu Weiying saw Han Li taking out the Yin Yang Ring, they immediately blurred and appeared close behind him wearing solemn expressions. It appeared they wanted Han Li to take the lead. Han Li held the ring in his hand and blew a mist of azure essence energy onto it. In a flicker of black light, the azure energy was cleanly absorbed by the ring. The ring then floated above Han Li's head, suspended in the air, as if waiting for his command. Han Li raised his hand and struck the ring with a spell seal. The Yin Yang Ring trembled and began to fluctuate in size. Within moments, it grew to about 20 meters in diameter. Go, Han Li commanded, pointing forward. A strange humming sound emerged from the enormous ring as it began to move, springing forward like a living entity. Marquis Nanlong and Lu Weiying watched the scene intently, their expressions serious and solemn. The huge ring advanced through the countless lines of light floating in the air. And then an incredible phenomenon occurred. The lines of light rippled and twisted as though disturbed by invisible currents. In the instant the ring passed through them, black light flickered along its edges, and the lines bent, warped, and parted to form a clear passage. The three cultivators watched with relief as the Greatnorth Essence Lights yielded to the Yin Yang Ring's power. However, Han Li's curiosity about the true strength of the Greatnorth Essence Lights was not satisfied. He paused, thinking for a moment, and then opened his storage pouch. He retrieved a fist-sized blue pearl, a top-grade defensive magic tool he had acquired previously. Holding it in his hand, he infused it with a touch of spiritual power, causing a blue light barrier to surge outward and envelop the pearl. With a flick of his hand, the pearl shot forward into the Greatnorth Essence Lights. The silver lines of energy reacted instantly, flocking toward the pearl as though it were prey. They penetrated the blue light from every angle, ignoring its defenses as though it were nothing more than air. Sparks erupted from the pearl, which then combusted into a dazzling burst of blue and white light. As the light faded, the silver lines remained undisturbed, their strange brilliance continuing to float in the air. Han Li narrowed his eyes, silently noting the overwhelming power of the lights. Marquis Nanlong and Lu Weiying, witnessing the destruction of the pearl, appeared sullen and tense, realizing just how dangerous these energies could be. Maintaining a composed appearance, Han Li waved his hand, and the enormous Yin Yang Ring returned above them, dropping down to cover the three cultivators entirely. A barrier of black light emerged from the ring, enveloping them safely. "Let's go," Han Li said, moving forward steadily, guiding the ring through the swirling energies. Marquis Nanlong and Lu Weiying followed without hesitation, careful not to provoke the Greatnorth Essence Lights with any additional defenses. The Yin Yang Ring's barrier parted the silver lines, creating a safe path. Relief washed over all three as they moved forward. Han Li maintained his calm demeanor, though a flicker of concern remained in his mind. Step by step, he advanced through the mesmerizing yet dangerous lights, the Yin Yang Ring shielding them perfectly. Meanwhile, in a snow-covered area of Devilfall Valley, a group of black-clothed Ghost Spirit Sect cultivators struggled against a giant lizard. Various magic treasures floated around them, launched in unison against the beast. But even with their combined efforts, the lizard proved resilient. Observing the scene from above, the pale-complexioned Elder Zhong frowned, seeing that the 7 sect disciples were unable to finish off the ancient beast. He decided to act personally. Elder Zhong formed precise incantation gestures with his hands, releasing countless strands of pitch-black energy that coalesced into a jet-black flood dragon. The dragon surged forward, overwhelming the lizard with sheer force. From behind it, a net of dark green light emerged, glowing brightly as dozens of green, fist-sized fireballs condensed and rained down on the beast. Explosions erupted, black light and green flames intertwined, illuminating the snow-covered area. When the smoke cleared, the lizard lay charred and lifeless. With a sweeping motion of his sleeve, Elder Zhong sent the lizard's massive corpse flying over 30 meters, revealing a crack in the ice beneath it. The fissure led to a passage beneath the surface, faintly glowing with a white light. "Go," he commanded gloomily, and then shot into the crack as a black blur. The other Ghost Spirit Sect cultivators followed without hesitation. Among them were Wang Chan and Yan Ruyan, but Wang Tianggu and the sect master were absent. As the group disappeared underground, calm returned to the snow-covered surface, leaving only a sheet of ice covering the lizard's body. In the forest previously visited by the Ghost Spirit Sect, Violet Spirit paused before a small mound. After a moment of contemplation, roughly the time it would take to finish a cup of tea, she examined the surrounding trees and then directed a streak of white light at the mound. With a muffled pung, a hole 3 meters wide appeared, revealing scorched and damp tree roots beneath. Violet Spirit smiled quietly, noting that the Ghost Spirit Sect had found the location first but left traces behind in their haste. She quickly reburied the hole and retrieved an azure talisman. Circling a large nearby tree, she pressed the talisman against the trunk. In a flicker of azure light, the talisman vanished, leaving no trace. Confirming her direction, she then silently took flight, continuing her pursuit of the trail left by the sect. In a massive canyon, an old Daoist examined an array of colorful restrictions in front of him. 2 fiendish-looking puppets stood motionless behind him, ready for command. Across the canyon, crimson light marked a passage leading deeper into the valley. It was a short but heavily protected route, guarded by ancient restrictions. Though skilled in spell formations, the old Daoist realized that breaking through alone would consume too much time. A sudden voice called from behind. "What? Does Daoist Heavencrystal feel that he cannot take on the restrictions alone? How about I help?" Startled, the Daoist turned to see a group of green-robed cultivators hovering in the air. The speaker, a stern man with long facial hair, was none other than Dongmen Tu from the controlling Spirit Sect. Behind him floated several other Nascent Soul cultivators. Daoist Heavencrystal examined the group cautiously, his heart sinking as he recognized their strength. Dongmen Tu nodded toward the 2 puppets behind Heavencrystal. "You should consider them as such for the time being. Moreover, those 2 puppets behind you seem exceptional. Their power cannot be underestimated." Heavencrystal replied carefully, masking both surprise and respect. "Fellow Daoist Dongmen must be joking. How can these meager puppets draw your attention? Nevertheless, how do you plan on comparing with me?" Dongmen Tu's expression remained serious as he explained. "Although I have resided within the controlling Spirit Sect for a long time, I have heard of your reputation as a spell formation master. Alone, it would take too long to break through these restrictions. Together, our chances will be far greater." Heavencrystal hesitated but then noticed the 5 other Nascent Soul cultivators behind Dongmen Tu, each radiating formidable power. After weighing the situation, he finally nodded. "Since you have made the offer, I will accept. We will work together to break the restrictions. But after we enter the valley depths, we will go about our own business." Dongmen Tu immediately smiled and quickly said, "Hee, that will do. Fellow Daoist Heavencrystal, please rest assured. Given the power of your 2 puppets, how could I force you to do anything? After we enter the depths, we'll rely on luck in our search for treasures." In this episode, we saw Han Li skillfully use the Yin Yang Ring to protect himself and his companions from the deadly Greatnorth Essence Lights, creating a safe path through the dangerous energy. We also witnessed Elder Zhong of the Ghost Spirit Sect showcase his overwhelming power to defeat a massive lizard, revealing a secret passage in the ice. Meanwhile, Violet Spirit cleverly traced the Ghost Spirit Sect's path and left her own mark to continue her investigation. Finally, Daoist Heavencrystal reluctantly agreed to cooperate with Dongmen Tu and the Nascent Soul cultivators to break the valley's ancient restrictions, ensuring a faster path into the valley depths. What happens next? Stay tuned for the next episode of Immortal's journey to immortality. If you enjoyed this episode or found it exciting, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel to get notifications for the latest episodes of Han Li's journey. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.